fully recording. We thank God, Jesus. Yeah, use that as your lever. Do what you gotta do. Feel comfortable.
Do you believe in Jesus?
Huh?
Do you believe in Jesus?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Christian, all that. Christian and all that stuff. Yeah, lever. Okay, cool. That's done. Everything is sorted. This is your first time on a podcast, isn't it? Or no?
Literally, yeah.
Literally.
I haven't even listened to any podcasts. So
At all?
Yeah, it's my first time interacting with a podcast.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was like, oh, have they ever been on a podcast? I don't know, innit?
Nah.
I never check your socials, nothing.
Yeah.
I never check your socials. Because I was like, I was thinking, have they actually? Then
How does a podcast differ from like a radio interview? How would you say?
it's not really, there's not really a script per se unless you make it one.
Okay.
So,
So it's just a conversation, basically.
yeah, it's not, you know those conversations of like, you being around like your friends
Yeah.
with drinks. You're not out or anything. You can actually just sit in the sofas and you just have normal conversation.
Sure. That's a podcast.
That's what basically it.
Okay.
But also at the same time, you can format it into an interview. So usually that can happen, but it depends on your specific. What do you actually do that entertains me and I want to talk about? So there's loads of podcasts like that. So I don't know. What podcast can I say?
Joe Rogan. Is that a podcast?
Joe Rogan's a podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
But he does it. Yeah, it's mainly like, I haven't listened to Joe Rogan in a while actually.
That's more like interview style podcast.
Yeah, no, yes and no.
Yeah.
Because obviously I like the ones that he did with a guy. He's a philosopher. It's like an economy. I forgot the guy's name. Jordan Peterson.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got into him first through Joe Rogan.
Okay.
And I bought one of his books.
Right.
So I started reading that. And then I think what was the book called? Shit. It's one of his first books. 7 Ways of Life or something like that. I forgot
Right.
what it was called.
Okay.
He was made because he was he's talking about how he changed his diet, anxieties and stuff like that, and I read that book as well. That main book. That's how I got into Joe Rogan. But after that, I never got into Joe Rogan since, which is kind of bad, because he has some good interviews I've seen of like Kevin Hart. He had Wiz Khalifa on. He had. What else did he have?
Elon Musk on the show.
Elon Musk was the beautiful one. Yeah, I watched that. I'll definitely listen to that. And then apparently, like, there's a clip of him obviously smoking a blunt, and he didn't
That
choke.
was on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, just
Okay.
Joe Rogan. He didn't choke.
He didn't choke.
He didn't cough. Yeah.
That's weird.
I was like, you said you never smoked before,
Yeah.
so how does this work? Unless you have like a big ass tolerance for madness, but that's impossible. And then what did he do recently? Actually, what did he just announce? He just announced something about doing a. I forgot what it was called though. I think he was doing some announcements like what Akon's doing, like a city. In obviously back here, he's got his own. He's gonna have his own cryptocurrency.
Right.
He's gonna have his own driving his own like license plates, for that city specifically. What else he's gonna have? Yeah, cryptocurrency. Something. He's trying to make it like the new Dubai in Africa.
That's crazy.
When it's meant, well, apparently it's Ghana. So
Oh, for real?
yeah, apparently it's Ghana because of the year of return, all that other stuff. Everyone's like telling stories about Ghana this year, obviously
Sure.
Afro Nation and all that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of interesting as well. But yeah, hopefully get that. That'll be interesting. I think Elon Musk is trying to do something about flipping astronauts. yeah, that guy's weird, man.
Sending cars into space and all
What did you think about the car? The truck.
the truck. I want that truck. Yeah.
People don't like it, you know. You don't like the.
People don't have style, man. That car is...
Apparently, there's a few versions of it. So
Yeah, there's always a few prototypes before it like gets rolled out, right?
no, apparently the one that he showed first when he announced it was the prototype, but there's a version of people driving it, but it has the actual the back is like you can take off the sheath. Is it the sheath? Like the top of it.
Okay.
Like it's like convertible type in the back.
Okay.
So you can, it's like a big boot space for as a truck.
That's crazy.
But when you put it back down, it's just the thing, like a big ass 4x4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's interesting to do. I don't know. I find he's gonna make another one as well.
It's a beautiful design. I think like in a world where everybody's like dying to be the same, like, why would you not want to get something that's so different?
I was thinking about that as well, actually. It's like, would you want to be different more than be? Because some people like to just be like behind the thing and just be like not different, but just like always say follow the crowd, just not be disturbed.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, what do you? And then there's people like the celebrities that we would say that are very entertaining, want to be different as possible, not follow the crowd and stuff like that. So
I don't know, I feel like for me, I want my experience enough to be an experience. I want to try things that aren't average.
yeah.
I want to like fulfill that space for desire to do something completely new. I think just rolling around in like anything that anyone else can get is cool. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you got taste for something different, then why not like strive for it, go for it.
Do you how do you like find that drive still to create or to get into new things and actually create them to a degree? Like, how do you find that? Like, is there a drive or is it like inspiration for both of you? Because obviously you two are very different anyway.
Yeah.
So do you find?
answer that first.
Yeah. Do you? Is it more of like you want to do it and that's what drives you, or is it just like you wait for inspiration and just lay back and chill?
It's actually neither. I think inspiration forces itself upon me, and that compels me to create from a fresh perspective. And it's not a choice. I would rather be undisturbed and just kind of live my life quietly. But the gifts I've been given and the way life deals with me and the way things happen for me and my internal processes all lead to me coming out with creativity, whether it's like music or words, poetry. Like in other terms, like Eric he's not the type of guy that was ever try to write a song. For him it just comes out.
Yeah.
And it's like he can choose to follow it through or just like discard it. I think because I've dedicated my life to it, I will follow that process and I will make sure like the song gets out and put effort into it, etc.
Yeah.
But for Eric, his inspiration is just like on him, like in a different way.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, everyone has different inspirations.
Yeah.
That's definitely a fact. But before we get to that, intro, please. Intros. I was thinking, wait, we dipped into the conversation, and I have not done a no intro yet. Nothing. No one knows who you are. Nothing. People know who you are that you send this podcast to listen.
Of course.
And also watch the episodes on YouTube, by the way, every Thursday and Sunday. But they actually don't know who you are, what you do, or nothing. So it's a bit mad for me actually not even doing intro or anything. But yes, episode 99, man. Bruv, one more. Next week we got 100, so special announcement for that. Will be on the Instagram page. Yeah, Instagram page and my personal one if you follow me. You guys get that announcement if you when this episode drops or before then, don't matter. Hopefully I will actually have a new intro because I have not done intros in over 50 episodes. No, sorry, 30, because I remember doing something in the 70s, around the 70-80 range. We did do intros still, but I've given up because I'm tired. You know when you're just tired of doing one thing and you're just like bored and you're just like, that's the intro, yeah. Okay, let's go back. And then it just breaks off the conversation we just had. Sure. And I'm just like, God, I just can't be bothered, so I just stop doing them and just press record, let anyone talk. no problem,
sense.
and you keep it going.
Yeah.
People need context there, man.
Yeah, I know. For some, I'll do it for some guests. Like when B last came here, she was like, "So no intros, nothing. You know me, I'm a professionalist. Like, come on." And I was like, it was with Erica. So Erica was like, "It's her first time here." So she's like, obviously she's watched that podcast before, and she supports. But she's obviously never introduced herself or whatever. And I was just like, I don't want to. I just want normal conversation in it. Yeah. And I just pressed record while everyone was talking. So anything was recorded, I can take out, no problem in it. But just keep talking in it, and Beula's just like, "So no introducing us, what's going on?" I'm like, don't ruin it, man. Don't ruin the good convo we were just having right now. But for this one, I have to do it because I think you guys do something kind of, you both are different in ways as well, in creativity. So I think it's only right to introduce yourselves in a proper way. So yeah, just introduce yourselves, whatever name you want to give, everything, nicknames, SI numbers, passport IDs, bank balance, maybe that what you call it as well, the security number.
This is fraud.
At the back. That last three digits at the back.
Downstairs in the basement.
You need to broadcast this whole thing out to the Nigerian public
Shout out
radio.
to the uncles. You get me? Bare fraud in that. Emails, you know what I mean? Bare phishing emails and that. But yeah, I think it's only right to introduce yourselves properly in such ways. So yeah, go on.
I'm David, known as This Is DA, producer, musician, rapper. Also one half of the duo Rich Exchange with
Eric. Getting known as Low Key. I think people are now finally getting that. And yeah, the other half of the duo, Rich Exchange.
Okay. So because I'm gonna assume you both did not start in music at the same time.
No.
No. Who started first?
Well.
No, like in a sense of, I'm assuming inspiration kind of happened at the same time.
It depends, like what you mean, because we both played instruments as kids.
Yeah, that's already at the same time to me.
Yeah.
You guys knew you were blimmin' geniuses by the age of 5. It's like born. You know what I mean? As soon as you were born, you were already playing keys like Stevie Wonder, like it's mad. But in a sense of like saying, this is what I want to do.
For me,
and taking that leap.
That was at the age of 17. I remember having a conversation with David. I was in my second year of sixth form, and I got really depressed, and so I picked up my guitar, which I hadn't played in 8 years, and then through a lot of inspiration from like Kid Cudi and Kurt Cobain and a bunch of grunge and blues artists, I decided I wanted to sing about my emotions. And so then I knew, because at that time I was really known for visual arts and drawing and painting, and I was getting a name for that, but I was really losing the passion and the drive for that.
You got bored.
I got very bored. It was really shallow. I was just doing portraits of rappers to get recognised by rappers. And it worked. I got a lot of recognition from a lot of rappers, but it got really boring very quickly.
Yeah.
And I wanted something with more meaning and depth, and something that could communicate with people and also get my emotions out. And so yeah, I remember telling David I wanted to do music as a full-time pursuit. He was quite shocked, but I didn't really care at that time because I just wanted to do something new, and I saw a path for me to do it, and it was more like, I'm just letting you know I'm gonna do this, by the way.
Oh, so you already had the leap, like you're just giving a reminder to everybody. So
Basically.
Here's what I'm gonna do. Peace.
Yeah, that's
Alright,
it.
cool, sayings.
When you first told me, I was just like, nah.
You didn't even believe.
I was like, that's my thing, man.
Oh, is that
Like
okay?
that's what I do. So I felt like if you're gonna do it, like I know how difficult it is,
Sure.
and just like it's not a linear path. It's gonna take you all sorts of places, and it's gonna take you a very, very long time to like develop that craft properly. And just looking at someone at the beginning of that journey, just like knowing like the beginning of the woods, knowing how like dense that forest is, I'm just like, you don't need to go in there. Just figure out something else and just like do that.
I could, yeah. I hear what you mean.
Yeah,
I
but
hear what you mean.
I think it's quite selfish to come from that sort of perspective. Like, if he wasn't my brother, I would be like, if he was just my friend, I'd be like, yeah, go for it. Like, do what you need to do.
Okay, that's interesting then. So it's just because he's because you just said like you're a bit hypocritical, like of him because he's your brother and you know how it is.
Yeah.
As a person who took the leap early.
Yeah.
And then, but if it was your friend, you'd be like, yeah, go on, go ahead. So
it's less.
Was it more like worry for you instead of that? Okay, cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
it's
all
like
it is.
You got a vested interest in that person, and you don't want to protect them from like the things that you had to deal with and go through, and because people forget music isn't just like the creation of the music. A majority of it is the business side of it.
Yeah.
And it's long and it's very, very arduous. So
vexed when I read certain things, man.
Yeah.
I still get like crazy. Just think, if I was in the music business, not a musician, but just a guy behind the scenes, I would be making money. Cause I'm thinking of people now like Twin and was it not Benny Benny, if you I forgot his name. Snap. He manages a lot of artists. Benny Scars. People like Sincere, who used to be a rapper, who now manages or is associated with managing Fredo. And then you got like someone like G Fresh, who was also a rapper but also a business guy, new clothing, new other stuff. Gave up all that. Obviously he's with Disturbing London, which is Tiny's label and Dummy's label. So now they are together with Fresh as a manager to manage Young Bane.
Okay. Well, I didn't even know that. I used to love G Fresh back in the day.
Yeah, so but Bane G Fresh just said, yeah, I want to help you. It wasn't even, I think Bane even spoke about it like he wasn't taking money off him, he just wanted to help him because he knew that Bane was talented.
Right.
But then I think that's what happened with Disturbing, just ended up naturally. And he said, I think he might be signed to that management in Disturbing. I'm not too sure. Every time I see videos of Bane, it's always got Disturbing on the logo.
Okay.
So that's why I'm assuming he is signed to that label. But obviously there's Paraphone and other labels as well associated with there. So Tiny's making obviously that type of money as well. And he's obviously got distributing deals with like people like Pounds, who made the Upthought song. He's got another song coming out. I think he is also managed by G Fresh. I'm not too sure. But then another example is Play Dirty, which is Krypton Conan's label.
Sure.
Bouncer, I don't know if you know Bouncer.
No.
Who's basically Krypton Conan's boy, like came out of jail, and he brought Dig Dat. So Dig Dat, if you know Air Force, that whole drill tune, some guy in the drill scene.
I feel like I recognize.
He just had a song with H.
Okay.
The 8 Mile concept song.
I don't keep up enough. I know the names. I don't really.
But I'll show you the video. Actually, it's kind of an 8 Mile concept. It was just
okay.
But the guy that owns that song, he's managed by Bouncer, who is a part of Dirty, Play Dirty. I think in a different label situation as well. But also deals with a lot of the remix deals, all that other stuff to help out with other stuff like that. And then another example is SN1 Gigs. Buck is his manager.
Okay, I didn't know that either.
So
right, it's interesting.
Buck is another person that knows already what he's like.
Sure.
And obviously Gigs is the one that trusts him, so he has to learn the game.
Sure.
So these guys had to learn the game early to successfully prosper now. So you probably have done kind of almost the same way of like you've learned seeing this from the early on, and you kind of been like to your brother and say, you sure you want to do this? Because these are the things that I've experienced. I don't know what else we could experience together. So you're just like, you could tell him, but you're going to have to experience it for yourself. Because deals change every now and then as well. So that's another aspect of why he could be like, are you sure you want to do this? Because mentality wise as well, as you said, you kind of were in a depressive state, a lot of anxiety. You could have been to to actually go forth with a new career is a tasking mentally thing. Because I had that experience when I started the podcast. I was just like, what the hell I'm doing? What are gonna people think? What the hell is fuck?
What were you doing before this?
I was just working.
Okay.
Normal. And then literally just had a conversation with a few friends of mine while we were having Nando's. And we were there for like 2.5 hours. And we were just like talking. And then I just said, I'm starting a podcast. I think I should start a podcast. And they just laughed. 2 weeks later I started it.
Yeah.
Recorded.
That's it, man.
And then a month after that recorded the second episode here. That's where this became the main studio and just recorded. But yeah, that's an example though, other than myself. But what was your starting point though? Because he's obviously showed his starting point. What was your starting point being like? This is my full time. This is me. This is what I'm doing.
It's difficult to tell. I mean, I started like just emceeing and stuff in school.
What school you go to?
Redcliffe.
Oh, okay.
And I was like,
bare people I know are from Redcliffe. Jesus.
Yeah.
Either Fairfield. Fairfield.
City
Academy. Redcliffe.
Yeah.
Maybe Whitfield. Because that was the bad boy school.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was going around my school, like Whitfield, like the hoodmans, da. I went to a Christian,
That sounds posh.
I went to a posh school, innit?
Okay.
Like St. Bede's.
Oh, okay.
Very
okay.
posh, like
Sure.
Catholic school.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
these people were telling me, I'm like, I was meant to. What was the school? There was a school that I was meant to go to. St. Thomas Cook. I did St. Thomas Cook.
Thomas More.
Thomas More.
Thomas
I think.
Cook is the.
No. It was
Yeah,
Thomas St. Thomas something.
Okay.
But that was the school I was meant to go to.
Okay.
But my parents were like, nah, because they felt something was wrong.
They changed their name, haven't they? St. Thomas More.
I'm not too sure, but
Okay.
they were just like, no.
Right.
And then I switched to St. Bede's.
I think St. Thomas More became Fairfield.
That's what I think.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
I feel like
I'm
it
not
is.
too sure. I'm not
Yeah.
too sure.
Somebody out there will know.
But yeah, that was the thing. But yeah, for you as
So,
starting point.
yeah.
So instruments at the age of.
I used to play piano in primary school. Used to like read and write sheet music and
That
stuff.
is fucking mad.
But
That is.
yeah, I stopped it early though. I did it from like probably like 8, and I stopped by the time I was 10, 11. Didn't
Do you still know how to play now?
I don't know how to play anything at all.
Oh, for real?
I just know how to produce music.
Oh, okay.
But I don't actually technically know what I'm doing. I just like I know.
Go
what
with the
sounds,
flow.
Yeah, what sounds cool.
Okay, cool.
But it's not a hindrance at all. Like lack of knowledge in this realm is not a problem. So I think there wasn't ever a conversation in my head like this is what I'm gonna do full time. I think like the first time I heard myself back on a song when I was like 14, I knew I was gonna keep doing it forever.
That's cool. That's cool. Because not all of us at that age would know what we're doing.
I'm way too self-assured, man.
Yeah.
That's like it's a good and a bad thing.
Yeah, because we got, as human beings, we do have addictive personalities. So
Yeah.
at that young age, you're so like, it's like when you're a kid, like kid in the candy store, just addicted, like running around, everything, doing something, doing whatever. And then when you get to a certain age like that, to start saying, this is what I want to do, is very, I wouldn't say it's rare, it's very uncommon though. So it does happen, but not as common as people think.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a bit different. Have you guys had deals? Any deals like that? Business deals, nothing like that? Or is it just normally independent releases?
No, I've had a manager at one point. Did some PR companies and stuff, but all of that is still independent in some respects. So no deals at all.
Because obviously managers a bit of a having an agent to having a manager is completely different when it comes to splitting contracts and money and stuff like that. So I'm assuming that was a case as well. I just found out that literally like 2-3 days ago. So I was like, wait, what? So having an agent takes out this much but a manager takes this much? Nah.
Hmm.
You have to pick one or the other.
Hmm.
You actually have to pick up one or the other. So it's kind of mad. So because I've only listened to one project, you as a collective,
Okay.
and obviously I was at your Beulah brought me to your listening party.
Sure.
I was there,
Yeah.
and I listened to like some individual stuff that you guys played towards the end, right? If I'm correct.
Okay. Yeah.
I played a couple.
Yeah, for my EP. Yeah.
Yeah. So those were unreleased stuff.
At the time, now they are.
Oh, now they are. Okay, cool. So I've only listened to the actual the collab project, the group one. So before we go into those projects, when was the first time? What year was it? Like you were like, I'm gonna release my first EP or first song, online, whatever. Just jump right into the deep end.
Put out a little like mixtape thing when I was like 15.
Yeah.
It was like, so I used to do grime back in the day. That's
As
how I
usual,
started.
yeah. Come on, we always do listen to grime. School days, like you had the what you call it. You had the BBs,
Sony
BBMs and that,
Ericssons.
and you could only put like what 2-3 songs on the phone
Yeah.
all them times. Come on,
Infrared and stuff.
yeah, man.
But I was making that project basically, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be half grime and then half rap.
Okay, cool.
So slower tempo, and then I was just vocaling more rap type beats, and I was like, this is way more comfortable. So
Grime's not for everybody, to be honest.
yeah, I kind of disregarded like the 140 after that, and then
But you still respect it though. You respect the people. That,
absolutely, yeah. I mean, like if that's where I came from, like a lot of my ability and my delivery relies on like those lessons I picked up from listening to a lot of grime MCs, like the fact that I can like pick up pace in a bar and then go like slow it down, etc. Like that all comes from that.
That's I'm trying to think of MCs that do that. I think early Wretch was on that. Wretch 32. Who else? Devlin? Did Devlin do that type of thing?
Devlin is good, yeah.
Devlin.
Gets
is a specialist, yeah. Gets is a specialist. Do you remember Marvel?
Sure.
Marvel, yeah. So I think Double S was one of them.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Double S was mad. Double was mad. Who else? Oh, who else did that?
Dot Rotten.
Dot Rotten did it. P Money does it very well.
Yep.
Because I was actually watching a lot of the Red Bull culture clashes recently. Obviously, Grime had his own stage and stuff like that. Warren with 4 other stages.
Right.
So P Money would always come out for that, for Eskimo Dance and BBK. He came out.
Okay.
And he said, and he'd always reload ones. Who else? Kano. Kano is a proper specialist on that.
Sure.
Who else? Up and down. So fast and slow. There's so many. Obviously, the people we just said, like G Fresh and Sincere, kind of did it to a degree. But G Fresh and Sincere were more rap.
Yeah, they're definitely more
like
rap.
Bossy, like Flex.
Yeah.
So that was the start of that, and then obviously gigs, all that rap stuff. But
sure.
So you was 15. All mixtapes. How about you? All right.
So I would have been 17. I recorded my first EP. I called it Nothing New. But the path I took was totally different. So I was playing guitar and singing. And it was really grunge influenced. So I was going through my grunge phase.
Oh, that's fine.
So
that's
fine. It was like a lot of like heavy guitars, power chords, like just really dark. Like I tuned my guitar down so that it came out in a really like dark kind of way. And yeah, it was just me just kind of singing about depressed emotions pretty much.
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
That was like a 5
that was
EP.
That was 17. How old are you guys now?
23.
23.
25.
25. So that would, around your age would probably be that sound was starting to blow up a little, not blow up a little, but
There was like a resurgence of it.
a small resurgence with Kid Cudi.
Exactly.
Cudi was the resurgence.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
And then a lot of artists started playing guitar a lot.
Yeah.
Didn't Wayne have his own rock?
He did at some point, yeah.
Wayne had his rock thing.
Yeah.
That was a time.
Prom Queen was my favorite song.
Prom Queen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I listened to that album. I remember How to Love. I remember that album. I remember that song. How to Love was my favorite.
The album that got me into playing guitar and singing was Wizard by Kid Cudi and Dr. Genius.
You know what? I never got into taking that. I never took that album in properly.
Yeah, a lot of people hated it.
I wouldn't say I hated it. I just never took it in properly. Because I respect Cudi as his own. Because Pursuit of Happiness and Man on the Moon and these albums I think are incredible. But I just never took that album in properly.
It's a good one.
And I don't know why.
Yeah. I actually don't know why I did, if I'm honest. But I think what it was like the perfect synergy between like a hip-hop artist using their singing ability on rock music, but it still had its like hip hop element. Like a lot of the productions like still had the kind of hip hop kicks and snares and hi hats, and the rhythm was there.
Like Rick Rubin type stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, Rick Rubin is definitely the guy one of the guys that started that.
Yeah.
So before we get into the actual the project, the collab project, from now, this project now, to the first stuff, what do you see the difference wise? And also, do you like still the first stuff? Because a lot of artists would say their first stuff was trash.
Yeah, I mean, anything that you say in your like adolescence is not gonna be on the mark.
Yeah.
So I don't have any of those like recordings still.
Oh, okay.
If I did hear them, I would not want to hear them. But I think that's the weird thing about living in this generation, because like you can just record so much of your existence, and so much of your existence doesn't need to be recorded. There's a lot of like thoughts and ideas and looks you go through, etc., that you don't need to see that back, man. You need to just live through it. And I think I made a lot of music that I'm very glad it no longer exists in any like form. As far as like somewhere in some cyberspace. Deleted.
You never know. It could be still there, bro. Internet's the internet, man. So we all know that we can't delete everything that's in the internet.
Some people could have saved them to their devices.
Screenshot.
That's true. But I mean, some of them were like pre-MySpace, like.
Oh, okay, yeah. You'd be alright. They might be in the deep crevices.
Yeah.
But I started on MySpace. That's why I began to upload my tracks.
MySpace was always going to be like that, though. Like a lot of people were big on MySpace.
Yeah, man.
Well, obviously the person that made it big, as we all know, is Soulja Boy.
Yeah.
So he was the one that made use of it to the highest form. Yeah. And obviously we're excited. I don't know. Are you guys excited for the Millennium Tour?
What is that?
So basically, all the music from like early 2000s, like R&B, hip hop.
Okay.
All of those guys like Soulja Boy, Omarion, Bow Wow, who else was there? Mario, Lloyd, Ashanti, all these people.
That's interesting.
They're going on tour in the States.
That's interesting. Okay.
All together. So those guys are going to be like doing the US, but we're hoping, as R&B and hip hop fans, we are hoping that they actually come to the UK.
Yeah.
Because some of them might have priors. As we know, Soulja Boy is a bit of a madman. So as we see, pow, 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 all them man there. But hopefully, these guys actually get to come, because obviously we've 2020 is a bit crazy right now. Yeah. As of this past 2 months, like let's see, Kobe passing, R.I.P. Caroline Flack as well, as of recently. She was a former presenter on Love Island. I don't want to speak on how she passed anyway, but because that's a bit of a deeper discussion probably for later on. and obviously as of recently, Pop Smoke has recently passed, which is the craziest thing to happen now. First off, he's 20 years old. He got home invaded, and also the only way they found out that where he's staying is because he accidentally possibly put his address on social media, because he had a delivery from I think a brand or some kind. A delivery from a brand, or he took something, I'm not too sure, but it got delivered there, and it wasn't even his house, it's an Airbnb he was renting out. But for that to happen is kind of crazy, because as we just brought up social media, like bringing stuff back that you might have said or might have recorded and stuff like that, to have backlash, because there have been tendencies of that in our generation now, of people bringing old tweets to old stuff, old clips, old just anything from like early social media that still either hasn't been deleted or can be found or something like that. Do you guys just have that as a little segue? Do you guys have like fear of these things coming out as musicians and as people in general as well?
No, because I've deleted so much.
Not just that, but like your new music that you've brought out now, like, is that something that you might feel people are gonna look at like a bit different? Because obviously there are lyrics as well.
Right.
It's something like, as an example, Rick Ross coming out with the
okay,
with that lyric at a popular song about the Molly.
Yeah.
What else? Like The Game is another example. The rapper The Game, he's obviously him expressing of Nipsey Hussle's passing. He's expressed that on the recent album as well. So do you guys feel that when you say lyrics, or do you, because obviously music's a form of expression regardless of your emotions and stuff like that, do you, and you put it out there, and there are going to be moments of like, F it, I'm going to just release this because this is how I'm feeling and this is what I want to release to this world? Or is you just like, you like we're a bit worried, like, is that going to offend people strategically and stuff like that?
Yeah, nah, man, I always future proof my bars.
Yeah.
Like a lot of rappers don't do that.
So for example, Dr. Dre has always had this thing that he doesn't allow the people that he's working with to like timestamp their tracks, so he doesn't allow them to say anything that refers to like the date or like the time span that they're in.
I never knew that.
Because it sounds like it would sound dated at some point in the future.
I never knew that. Yeah. I actually never knew that.
And I consciously do the same thing, but in terms of the arena that I'm like thinking in is, will I be able to back this at any point in time, and not in front of people, but in front of God? Like, is this how I feel in the moment, or is this actually important enough to, like, is this, is what I'm actually saying, is it really necessary? Basically, that's how you need to start looking at like everything, not even just when it comes to lyrics and bars, but like just your general conversation. I think a lot of things that we say is just plain air, man. A lot of things don't need to get put into lyrics, they don't need to get said in conversations. So I'm very conscious of like making sure that I completely stand by what I say in everything.
Yeah, I definitely hold the same view. Like, when it comes to writing lyrics, I always think of the eternal aspect of it. And so I think, can I carry these words into eternity, and would I be happy for these words to be left behind when I'm gone? And so I always try to find, like how it says in the Bible, it talks about King Solomon, and he wrote Ecclesiastes, and it says how he tried to find just the right words. And that's always how I approach things, is that I try to find the exact right words, to the point that once it's done and it's out there, I can never regret it, because the right words will put to those feelings or emotions or perspectives. And I always aim to write songs that are collectively human rather than just being an individual view. This is what I'm going through. This is how I feel, because that's what I used to do. I realized how selfish that was, how limiting that was, and now I try to make music that anybody at any time can pick up and they can apply to themselves and their life journey. So in that way, there's no fear that this can cause trouble in the future, because I'm really writing music for people to live with forever.
I think that's the main difference between like what we're doing and what a lot of people in this generation are doing. Like, we're trying to make music that is eternally applicable to every circumstance. I don't want to make songs for environments for people to just like enjoy themselves or feel something in the moment, or for the sake of like making a certain amount of money or pleasing a certain amount of people. I just feel like if that is the case, what's the point of doing it?
Facts.
Like, I can just, you know what I'm saying, just do anything else, man. I just don't think music is something you mess around with.
Words in general, right? Like you're saying, conversations, everything.
Everything has got repercussions, man.
That's it.
Like,
you don't just know that. Oh my days. Listen, some of the stuff I've said on this podcast, boy. Not just, I'm not saying it's bad, but like, just some craziness. I'm thinking about it back right now. I'm having reminiscent of certain times. I've said some crazy shit. That might be not as crazy, but it's a bit mad. Just to hear it, you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
But you might find it funny. I don't know. One of them ones. But I'm trying to think who would be. What is it? What was I gonna say? Just lost track of my head. So, with this new project now, when was the time of like, because I think you guys said like you just were kind of playing. I think you were playing guitar and you were just saying lyrics randomly or something, or you were just together, and then you were just like, or you were exchanging like each other's talents of record one song for this project maybe, or for them, you recorded for them, and then you were just thinking of like just do a project together. Almost like
it was literally like it shouldn't have happened, but it should have happened because it did happen. But it began with me again. I hit a really depressed place, and the guitar has always been my companion in that place, so I just picked it up and I started to play stuff, and it was new, it was different. It wasn't the grungy stuff, it wasn't the depressed stuff. It was a bit more matured, it was a bit more refined. It was expressing deeper sentiments and perspectives, but it was just for me. So I started to log it on a private Instagram page that I made. I didn't let anybody know I made it, and I just would take little video clips of me playing these songs. I was freestyling most of them.
Okay.
And I'll upload them, and in a conversation, it came out that I had this Instagram with these little clips on them. David checked it out, and from there he can finish off the rest of the story.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, like, Eric quit making music. Like, he had a whole phase doing stuff. He was on his way somewhere, and he was just like, nah, that's not a road I want to go down. Okay. So he stopped it. Then he made this Instagram account with all these like little clips, etc. I've only been like producing my own beats and stuff for like a couple of years, so it's like relatively new to me. And when I actually started making beats on the drum machines and stuff, I would sample some guitar from Eric. So that was like his like first sort of reintroduction to making music again. But that was pretty much it. And then a lot of time had passed since then, obviously. So like a couple years down the line, and I see this Instagram. I'm listening to all these like these loops, and I can just hear exactly what I can do with it. So I'm like, let's do this one. Let's do this track here, and let me expand this into something else. And then I was like, just do an album.
Okay.
I think at this point, I just thought, why not? And I found it funny because the first time I wanted to make music, it was that David, I'm going to do this, and him being a bit like, And then this time it was like, Junior or Eric, we're going to do this. And I was just like, okay, like, why not? It was at the point of, I feel like I got nothing to lose. It's not something I want to use as a platform anymore, but if I've always respected David's opinion when it comes to creativity and life and decisions. So if it's something that he saw value in, I was like, why not? And this time it takes pressure off of me because it's collaborative. I'm not trying to become anybody or make a name for myself. I'm just joining in with what's already going on, with what he's already doing. And I loved what he was doing. So I was like, cool, let's just collaborate and see what comes of it. And so, yeah, I had like little lyrics here and there, little choruses and things like that. And then we decided to make full songs, and it just became an exchange of your productions and raps and melodies and my melodies and guitar.
Anything else to say? I don't know if you guys want to say anything else to add more sauce to the story.
Nah, it's just like working with Eric is like the easiest thing in the world to me. It's just the way that we both understand our own spaces in music and then each other's space. It's like I could just make a loop, like a instrumental loop, and then we can just play it for a while, and then one of us will come up with a melody, another one will come up with a different melody, and then we would just record the melody, and then we put words to it, and it just happens like so quickly. It's like the most natural thing.
How long did it take you guys to do the project, you think?
Maybe like 8 months, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was making the collaborative project, and then his solo project, and then my own like thing at the same time. So yeah, it could go a lot quicker if I just focus on one thing at a time, but I like to just do as much as I can. When I can.
And that solo project was really me just redeeming myself, because I made a 4-song solo EP when I was in art college. So the year after sixth form, I would have been about 18. And yeah, again, it was just really just dark and depressing, and it just had a very bleak tone to it. And this time I wanted to give people something hopeful and bright and light, and something that they could take into a dark space and see beauty and something good in that space.
Yeah.
Kind of like a gift to them. Yeah, a gift to people. Because I feel like with the music, it's not something that I've chosen to do. It's something that has been bestowed upon me to do. And so I'm compelled to use it for good. It's like a superpower.
Yeah, think of yourself as a superhero. Always, you got always. Is it weird to say, like, as a creative, you gotta think yourself as a superhero?
I love the concept of superheroes.
Yeah. So you it's kind of a weird thing to say, but it's almost like doing creative things makes you almost like a superhero.
Yeah.
So that would probably be an interview for now.